Hi, this is Dr. Shinjini Pandey and welcoming again to the lockdown series. I am presenting a short video of hysteroscopic adhesiolysis in a case of severe Asherman syndrome. So, briefing you with the history of the patient, this was a young lady of around 27 years old. She had history of missed abortion around 2 months back, that is in the month of March, wherein she was not aware of her pregnancy probably and did not seek any treatment. When she reached her gynecologist, she was first tried with medical management. However, since it did not work, she underwent a curettage in the month of March end. Thereafter, this patient had no resumption of menses. So she given a progesterone trial as well as a estrogen plus progesterone trial. However, she failed to respond to any of these. The ultrasound done recently showed a 4 thin endometrial stripe, and so the provisional diagnosis was Asherman syndrome post curettage, and we are just presenting the video now. So for this surgery, I have used a 2.9 mm Bertocci hysteroscope, and operating instrument is a 5 French scissor. So we will start the surgery now. So now this is the first entry, and I have just navigated through the external os, and the cervical canal appears to be fused. However, there is a central rarefied area, and I have taken advantage of this hint and making very gentle movements with the scissor. Small opening movements are made and even smaller cutting movements are made. So you can see since the central axis shows a rarefied area, I am taking advantage of this and cutting very gently and expanding slightly more than that. If you noticed very carefully, you would have seen the escape of slight turbid secretion now. That means that probably there is some infection inside, and the eye has to be very careful and alert to notice these signs in hysteroscopy. Notice the gentle movement of the scissor that is being done, and moving attention to the lateral wall of the cervical canal there, making small movements, opening, and then seeing as to what I can cut with guarded intentions. The hysteroscope moves gently, and I draw that line there on the left lateral wall of the cervix. Remember, we haven't entered the cavity as yet, and you can see the dense fibrosis that is there in the upper cervical canal also now, and we have almost now navigated the internal os and have just entered the cavity. So that's the first look of the cavity. You can see dense adhesion bands almost completely obliterating the cavity at the level of the lower isthmic region. So the lower isthmic region is almost antero-posteriorly apposed with this central dense band. Moving in the center of this band and making space, using that rarefied areas to enlarge, and coming back and zooming out slightly at all points of time to get an orientation. Notice the anterolateral wall which has fused, that is the left anterolateral wall which is seen now fused. While cutting and making opening movements, we have to keep an eye on the appearance of coiled blood vessels. That means that we are near the myometrium and we should move superficial then. So this is the escape of the caseous type of material that is seen entrapped between these adhesion bands. This strongly raises the suspicion of infective endometritis, probably tubercular, and we'll have to take a call for that in this patient. Once this central band of adhesions is completely released, then we have almost now entered the cavity which is seen on the right of the screen. So this is the release of the entire trapped up secretions, and you can see that caseating material which is floating in the cavity now. Now once we have done this, Then the second intention is that it does not make any sense in this kind of an Asherman's to just cut through the adhesions and make space. The real surgery would be excising and physically taking out all these bands of adhesions, and then we would submit them for biopsy. So you can see I am already encountering myometrium on the right anterolateral wall, and once I see these spiraling blood vessels, I immediately move superficial and excise the part which is superficial to it. So this is complete excision of the adhesion band which is on the right anterolateral wall, and this is the way it should be done. It should be completely excised, and then these chunks of fibrotic tissue should be caught with graspers and submitted for biopsy. We will perform two types of biopsy. One, a regular histopathological examination, and second, a targeted examination for suspecting tuberculosis, a TB PCR. And so this is how the grasper moves in and catches all these excised bands of tissue, and we will take them onto the gauze piece and then submit them. So now on re-entering the cavity, we will reassess the situation. You can see that the left cornual area is visualized. However, the left anterolateral wall and the lateral wall has this dense adhesion band which I am now cutting. Notice the release of the adhesion there. Moving very cautiously and gently, the fixed part of the scissor is dug inside and the mobile part is used to excise. So this is what is meant by excision of the adhesions. All this dense non-vascular tissue is excised, leaving behind healthy vascular areas. If you will notice, towards the left cornual area, we have a healthy patch of endometrium, and also towards the central fundic region. So this patient would respond to a good lateral growth of the endometrium after 2 to 3 cycles of good estrogenization. You can see that now majorly the fundic areas with fibrosis have been excised. Now moving towards the right cornual region and the fundic region there, and we will perform the same type of steps on this side too. So now we have a well-defined left cornual region. Paying attention to the right cornual region now, the fundic region first, excising that central fibrosis there very gently. Notice the endometrial layer which is present in patches, and this is the region of the right upper lateral wall which is adherent with a dense band of adhesions. So making a central drawing line there, being very careful since I am now observing the blood vessels approaching. So we will now go superficially, we won't move into greater depth here, and then we will excise the top and the bottom part. So that is the last, probably the last depth that I will cut. I have reached the area of the cornu now. If you can see, the cavity is now quite well defined, appears quite triangular, and the areas of the fibrosis have been properly excised. This is the further excision of the central anterior band of the fibrotic region that we see. So we remove this entire fibrotic area to allow for good vascularization and good endometrial regeneration there. Can you see the excision that is being carried out? And we will remove these with graspers. So the end point of hysteroscopic adhesiolysis in this case would be ideally visualizing both the cornus, and that we have seen. The next end point, a well vascularized looking cavity. So this is now almost adequately dealt with. We will zoom in and see the areas there. So that is a good endometrial patch there. You can even see the glandular openings at that level. Notice the anterior wall almost completely shaved off of the fibrotic areas. This is some last part of the fibrotic area that I found. So releasing this very, very gently. Notice the delicate movement of the scissors. There should be no extra pressure on the hand, and movements should be very graceful. The holding of the scissor should be very graceful. Instruments in hysteroscopy, as all of us know, are extremely expensive. So it is very important to learn this art of handling the instruments gently. For now, this appears to be adequately done. However, since we noticed a lot of chronic endometritic changes in this patient, with even the appearance of something like caseation, so we will be guarded when predicting prognosis for this patient. We will give her a good trial of estrogen and progesterone, and also counsel the patient that she may need a relook hysteroscopy after 2 to 3 cycles. Thank you very much.